What would you do if a stranger could quiet your crying baby in 10 seconds? But every rumor said she was dangerous. It was 2 in the morning when Rodrigo Gallardo took the stairs two at a time. The house was still and expensive and sleepless. Guile had been crying for over an hour, gathering panic in his tiny chest and throwing it at the walls. Two nannies had tried. One had cried. Nothing helped. Rodrigo reached the nursery door and stopped cold. The new housekeeper was there with his son in her arms. She did not see him. She swayed with a rhythm you only learn when your arms have hours of practice. She held Gale against her heart like he belonged there. She sang under her breath. Her voice was a hush, a lullaby made of breath and hope. And while she sang, silent tears slid down her face. Not tired tears, not annoyed tears, the kind that come from a wound that won't close. "Easy, my love," she whispered to the baby. "It's all right. Mommy's here." Gal went quiet, just like that, his fists unclenched, his brow smoothed. The terrible hiccup breathing slowed to a steady rise and fall. Rodrigo hadn't seen his son this peaceful in weeks. "Atzel," he said, and his voice startled even him. She flinched so hard she nearly dropped the baby. When she turned, her eyes were wide with panic. "Senor Rodrigo, I can explain. I heard him from downstairs. I know I should not have entered, but the crying, I couldn't. I just—" "How did you get him to stop?" Rodrigo asked. He wasn't prepared for the question to come out raw. He knew money, he knew contracts and mergers and the kind of people who fold under pressure. But a 3-month-old's tears had taught him his limits. Itzel swallowed. "I had a baby." Her voice trembled. "He was just like Gale. He cried like this. I learned what calmed him." She pressed her lips together. "He doesn't cry anymore. He never will." The words landed between them like a fallen plate. "What happened?" Rodrigo asked, though a part of him didn't want the answer. "He died," she whispered. "1 month ago. Sudden infant death syndrome. He went to sleep. He didn't wake up. His name was Matthias." She held Gal a little closer, as if her arms could argue with fate. "When I hear Gal cry, it's like I hear my boy asking for help. I can't let a baby suffer if I can do something." Footsteps pounded up the stairs, heavy with a familiar anger. Itzel went pale. Valeria. Valeria Sandoval swept into the nursery in a silk robe and a storm of disapproval. The fury on her face could curdle milk. "What is this woman doing with my grandson?" She didn't wait for an answer. She moved like a hurricane toward Itzel. "Take your filthy hands off him, now." "I was just helping," Itzel said quickly, voice small and steady at the same time. "Helping?" Valeria's laugh was a blade. "Who do you think you are to touch my grandson in the middle of the night? To enter his room without permission?" "Valeria," Rodrigo interjected. She calmed him. "And?" Valeria didn't take her eyes off Itzel. "She invaded the nursery at 2 in the morning. How did she even get in here?" She planted herself in front of the housekeeper and leaned in. "Listen to me, opportunist. I don't know what game you are playing, but it won't work on me." "I'm not playing anything," Itzel said, shaking. "No? Then why is a housekeeper touching someone else's baby in the dead of night?" Valeria's eyes narrowed. "What is your interest in my grandson?" Itzel's gaze darted to Rodrigo like a swallow trying to find a safe branch. "I lost my baby. I couldn't stand to hear Gale cry like that." "Oh, you lost him," Valeria said with a sweet, poisonous smile. "And how did you lose him? How does a mother lose a 2-month-old?" Itzel went white. "It was SIDS," she whispered. "The doctor said—" "How convenient," Valeria cut in. "A death without explanation. And now the grieving mother appears, eager to care for somebody else's infant." She took a step forward. It was almost a threat. "A woman who could not protect her own child wants to care for my grandson." "Valeria, that's cruel," Rodrigo said, heat rising in his chest. "Cruel is the truth," she snapped. "A normal mother who loses a baby stays away from infants until she is healed. She doesn't go grabbing other people's children at 2 in the morning." She turned back toward Itzel. "Put him down and get out. Go back to your place." Itzel tucked Guile into his crib with careful hands and ran. Rodrigo heard the slam of her bedroom door below. The nursery went too quiet in the way expensive rooms do when you've just said something you can't take back. "You went too far," he told Valeria. "Did I?" She crossed her arms. "That woman was alone with your son in the middle of the night. How did she know he was crying?" She waited. Rodrigo didn't have an answer. "Desperate women do desperate things," Valeria said softly, like a person who thinks soft makes a lie true. "She lost a baby. She wants yours, it's obvious. Maybe she wanted to help. Maybe she's unwell. Either way, boundaries. She is a housekeeper, not a nanny. After what I saw tonight, I don't even know if she should stay here." I'll talk to her in the morning, Rodrigo said. Talk, Valeria replied, and put her on a short leash, or I will. Morning came with coffee and humiliation. Valeria stood in the kitchen and announced new rules to the staff like a queen handing out punishments. Starting today, she said, making sure Itzel was washing dishes within earshot. Itzel only works when the baby's asleep. I don't want noise disturbing my grandson. Carmen Lopez, the longtime housekeeper, frowned. Senora, that means she'll be working at night. That is her problem, Valeria replied. She should have thought about rules before sneaking into a nursery at 2 a.m. Itzel nodded without a word. And another thing, Valeria continued, Itzel does not go upstairs when Gail is awake. If I hear she touched him, she leaves, immediately. For a week, Valeria made Itzel's life a small hell. Petty tasks, harsh criticism, raised voices that made other staff lower theirs. Itzel, the floor is dirty. Do it again. Itzel, who told you to fold towels like that? Do them properly. Itzel, why do you take so long? Laziness. Rodrigo watched some of it, uneasy enough to feel it, but not yet brave enough to stop it. He told himself he needed to be cautious. He told himself caution and kindness weren't enemies. He watched anyway. There was one thing he couldn't ignore. Gail was different. When Itzel was downstairs, the baby stayed calmer upstairs. When she left for lunch, he got fussy again. By Thursday, it was undeniable. Rodrigo was in his office when Gail's cry shot through the ceiling. It was the sharp electric cry that meant pain. He ran to the nursery. Letitia, the nanny on duty, was near tears. He won't stop, senor. I've tried everything. 40 minutes later, Gail still screamed. Rodrigo was going mad when it happened again. Itzel stood in the doorway like a person arriving at the edge of a fire. Senor Rodrigo, she said, breathless. I'm sorry. May I try? He saw real fear on her face. Not fear of being caught. Fear for the baby. He handed Gail over. Itzel stood and shifted him into a position that seemed to unlock something in his body. She massaged his belly in small circles. She hummed. 10 minutes later, Gail sighed and melted against her shoulder. Rodrigo felt gratitude in his throat like a lump. Thank you, he said. Itzel smiled and moved to leave. Valeria met her in the doorway. What are you doing here? Senor Rodrigo asked for help, Itzel said. Go downstairs, Valeria said. Now. After Itzel left, Valeria rounded on Rodrigo. Don't you see what's happening? She appears at exactly the right moment. How does she know when Gail is in trouble? She heard him, he said, knowing how weak it sounded. She's watching, Valeria shot back. She waits until you need her. Then she appears as the savior. Rodrigo frowned. When she said it like that, it sounded almost plausible. And there's more, Valeria added. I spoke to friends. It's not uncommon for women who lose babies to become obsessive. It's a known disorder, pathological grief. They project the dead child onto other infants. Itzel doesn't seem unstable, Rodrigo said. The worst ones never seem like it, Valeria replied. That woman is a danger to Gail, and I'm going to prove it. The proof Valeria wanted arrived on Sunday, the way trouble likes Sundays. Rodrigo came down for breakfast and thought the house felt wrong. Too quiet. Gail always woke crying at 7. It was 8:30. He went upstairs. The baby was awake in the crib, staring at the ceiling. Not sleeping, not screaming. Oddly still. His eyes were glassy. Slow. Letitia, he called. The nanny rushed in. He's not normal, Rodrigo said. Look. Letitia leaned over the crib and frowned. He's too drowsy. Not normal. Rodrigo lifted his son. Gail felt limp, heavy in a wrong way. We're going to the hospital. Valeria appeared in the doorway, wearing an expression Rodrigo couldn't read. What happened? He's strange. Very drowsy. It's probably just tiredness, she said mildly. No, Rodrigo snapped. Something's wrong. At the hospital, the pediatrician examined Gail and pressed his lips into a line. Signs of mild sedation, he said. Has he had any medication? No, Rodrigo said. Nothing. Odd, the doctor murmured. Reflexes are a little slow. It should pass in a few hours, but watch him. On the drive home, Rodrigo's mind raced ahead and slammed into a wall. How could there be sedation if no one had given him anything? Valeria was waiting in the living room with that face again, the one that meant she thought she had a gift he didn't want. The investigator's report arrived, she said. What investigator? Rodrigo asked. I hired a detective to look into its cell. We found disturbing things. Rodrigo sat with Gael asleep in his arms like a small secret he must keep alive. What things? The death of her baby wasn't as simple as she told you, Valeria said, opening a folder. Police investigated. She changed her story about the time she found him. Inconsistencies. That doesn't mean there's more. She purchased infant sedatives 3 days before her baby died. Rodrigo's stomach went cold. Are you saying, I'm not insinuating, Valeria said. I'm showing facts. The case was closed for lack of proof, but suspicion remained. He looked down at Gail, who slept too heavily. The hospital had said mild sedation. It looped in his mind like a headline written to hurt. And this morning, Gail woke up sedated, Valeria added softly. How? Rodrigo whispered. She has no access to medication. Come with me, Valeria said. They went to the staff floor. Valeria knocked on Itzel's door. Open, please. Itzel opened in a robe, hair tangled from sleep and stress. What's wrong? Rodrigo is going to take a quick look at your room, Valeria said. A look for what? Itzel asked. This isn't routine check, Valeria said lightly. You don't mind, do you? Rodrigo stepped into the small room that smelled faintly of soap and exhaustion. Valeria went straight to the nightstand and opened the drawer. Rodrigo, she called. Look. She lifted a bottle of infant sedative from the drawer like a magician pulling a rabbit. It gleamed with the cruelty of something that looks helpful when it isn't. What is this? Rodrigo asked. His voice felt like ice. Itzel stared, stunned. I've never seen that. It's in your drawer, Valeria said. I didn't buy it. I don't even know. Itzel, Rodrigo cut in. The danger in his voice surprised them both. My son woke, sedated, and now we find this in your room. Senor Rodrigo, I swear, I don't know how that got there. You swear, Valeria said sweetly, just like you swore you only wanted to help. Tears spilled down Itzel's face. I didn't do anything to Gail, she cried. I would never harm a child. Like you never harmed your own? Valeria asked, lethal. Itzel went white to the lips. My son died of SIDS. Or he died because you gave him too much, Valeria hissed. No! The word tore out of Itzel like cloth. Rodrigo watched, split between compassion and fear. The evidence was ugly. The bottle, the hospital, the folder. Fear won. Itzel, he said hard. Pack your things, leave my house, now. Senor Rodrigo, please. There's nothing to explain. You lied. You put my son at risk. I didn't, she sobbed. I didn't. Then explain the sedative, he said. Explain the hospital's report. Explain the bottle in your drawer. Itzel looked between him and Valeria like a person trapped in a room filling with smoke. Someone put it there, she whispered. I swear. Right, Valeria said flatly. Someone broke into your room to frame you. That's exactly what happened, Itzel insisted. Rodrigo shook his head. Pack and go. Don't come near my son again. Please, she whispered. Go, he said. The word echoed through the house. Itzel stepped back as if he had hit her. All right, she whispered. She threw a few essentials into a small bag, picked up what little was hers and ran. Rodrigo stood at the window, watching her figure disappear down the dark street. Upstairs, Gail began to cry. You did the right thing, Valeria said, resting a hand on her son-in-law's shoulder. Gail's cry rose, an animal sound. Rodrigo listened and, for a second, wondered if he had done the exact wrong thing. Valeria went up to try. Gail rejected the bottle, rejected arms, rejected music. By 4 a.m, he was still crying. Rodrigo thought of Itzel against his will. Had he made a terrible mistake? He remembered the bottle in her drawer. He remembered the hospital. Doubt came back anyway, unwanted and loud. The next 3 days were a new kind of hell. Without Itzel, Gail dropped into a spiral. He refused bottles. He refused sleep. He shrieked until his little voice broke. Rodrigo hired 2 new nannies. It didn't matter. He misses her, Carmen said one morning, stirring coffee like it held an answer. Mrs. who? Valeria asked, flawless at pretending she didn't understand. Itzel, Carmen said. The baby got used to her. Don't be ridiculous, Valeria said. Babies don't get attached to the help. Rodrigo was noticing the same thing. Gail seemed inconsolable since Itzel left. The pediatrician called, voice serious. Senor Gallardo, Gail lost 200 grams since yesterday. That's a lot for a week. He's not eating well. Any changes at home? New nanny? A move? Rodrigo hesitated. We fired someone who took care of him sometimes. Ah, the doctor said. Babies bond very quickly. It could be that. Keep his routine stable. Rodrigo hung up and stared at the wall. Had Itzel actually formed a bond with Gail? Or was it a coincidence his mind wanted to make meaningful because he needed a solution? On Wednesday night, the doubt turned into something he could not ignore. Gail cried from 11 until 3. 2 nannies tried. Rodrigo tried. Nothing. At 3:30, exhausted and half ashamed, Rodrigo had the thought he did not want. If Itzel were here, he pushed it away. How could he want the help of the woman who had possibly drugged his child? Gail finally slept at 4. Rodrigo lay awake and saw Itzel's face when he fired her. Saw the way she held the baby, the way she had talked about her own son, Matthias. The pain had been real. Real pain leaves a mark you recognize later. What if I was wrong? He whispered in the dark. Thursday morning, raised voices in the kitchen broke the fragile quiet. Rodrigo walked in to find Carmen arguing with Valeria. Senora, this isn't right, Carmen said. What isn't right? Valeria asked coolly. You know Itzel did nothing wrong. Valeria stiffened. You know nothing. I know that girl since she was a teenager, Carmen said. She would never hurt a child. You saw the bottle in her drawer, Valeria said. I saw it, Carmen replied. And I know she has a severe allergy to those medications. It's in her medical file. I brought it myself when I recommended her. Rodrigo stopped chewing. What? Carmen turned to him. Senor, Itzel is severely allergic to sedatives. Since she was little, she can't even be near them. A chill ran through Rodrigo's blood. Are you sure? Very sure, Carmen said. She once got sick just from smelling an ointment with a derivative. Rodrigo looked at Valeria. The color had drained from her face. Valeria, he said softly. Did you know? How would I know? She snapped too fast. You were the one who found the bottle, he said. You were the one who went to the correct drawer. Coincidence, Valeria said. Pure coincidence. Carmen, Rodrigo said, voice hardening. Can you prove the allergy? I can, Carmen said. I have her medical file here. She returned with a paper and handed it to Rodrigo. Severe allergy to benzodiazepine derivatives, he read. Avoid contact. The label on the bottle Valeria had found matched the category. How did a medication that could kill Itzel end up in her drawer? He asked, voice dangerous. Valeria stared. Unless someone put it there, he finished. Silence fell over the kitchen like a curtain. Carmen looked from one to the other, understanding what hung between them. Rodrigo, Valeria said, finding her voice. Are you accusing me? I'm asking how it got there, he said. I don't know, Valeria said. Maybe she bought it without knowing about the allergy. Maybe the medical file is fake. It's from San Jose Hospital, Carmen said. It's not fake. Rodrigo looked at Valeria with an expression she had never seen on his face. Suspicion, disappointment, and anger. Tell me the truth. The truth about what? She asked, choking on the space around the words. What you did to Itzel, he said. Valeria swallowed. For the first time, she seemed to realize she had gone too far. I only wanted to protect my grandson, she said. Protect him from what? Rodrigo asked. From a woman who is allergic to what you planted? Upstairs, Gael started crying again. The sound rolled through the house like a siren. Rodrigo ran, leaving Valeria and Carmen in the kitchen, the accusation sitting on the counter between them like a loaded gun. Senor, Letitia said at the nursery door, eyes rimmed red. He hasn't stopped since Itzel left. Rodrigo picked up his son. Gael screamed harder. His little face was red and sweaty. He shook with the effort of crying. His forehead was hot. We're going to the hospital, Rodrigo said, trying not to panic and failing. On the way, Gael had a small seizure. At the hospital, Dr. Martinez was blunt. Severe dehydration, extreme stress. This baby is experiencing separation trauma. You removed an attachment figure. If it isn't reversed, it can be dangerous. Babies can fade from grief, senor. The world tilted under Rodrigo's feet. What do I do? Bring back the person he lost, the doctor said, urgently. He left the hospital with a knot in his stomach and a direction in his mind. He called Carmen. Do you have Itzel's mother's number? I do, Carmen said. Why? I need to find Itzel, he said. My son is dying without her. Itzel woke on a park bench to the sound of birds and a kind of morning that doesn't care what night you had. It was Sunday. She didn't have anywhere to go. She had spent her last coins on bread. 3 days since she left the Gallardo mansion. 3 days of doors closing. She tried to find work. No one wanted a woman with no references whose last employer reportedly fired her for drugging a baby. The barrio had a way of carrying stories on the wind. That's the one, whispers said, the one who sedated the patron's child. Her phone rang. It was her mother, Consuelo. Where are you, Hia? I've been looking for you for 2 days. I'm fine, Mama, Itzel said. You are not fine. Your voice is wrong. Itzel started to cry. I can't do it anymore, she said. First I lost Matthias. Now they accuse me of hurting Gael. Someone set you up, Consuelo said. I know. I know it too, Itzel whispered, but no one believes me. I believe you, Consuelo said, and I will prove your innocence. She hung up and went straight to the Gallardo house. She rang the bell at 8 in the morning. I need to see Senor Rodrigo, she told the guard. Do you have an appointment? No, but I'm not leaving. Rodrigo came down 5 minutes later in a robe and a face that looked like he had wrestled the night and lost. Senora Consuelo? I came to fix the lies about my daughter, she said. And in the living room, she opened a folder with the angry dignity of a woman who has had enough. You were told my daughter gave your baby sedative, she said. Look at this, her medical file. Severe allergy since she was 5. She showed another document. The official report on Matias's death. Sudden infant death syndrome. No negligence. No suspicion. Rodrigo read both. The words were clear. The stamps were real. The story was different from the one he'd been fed. Then why was I told there was an investigation? Who told you? Consuelo asked. Rodrigo didn't answer. Your mother-in-law, wasn't it? She said. She lied to you. Valeria came down the stairs. What is this woman doing here? You put that bottle in my daughter's drawer, Consuelo said. I did no such thing, Valeria said. Carmen told me you saw the medical file, Consuelo snapped. You knew about the allergy, and you planted it anyway. Don't listen to her, Rodrigo, Valeria said. How did you know where the bottle was? Rodrigo asked, suddenly cold. Luck, Valeria said. Or because you put it there, Consuelo said. I was protecting my grandson, Valeria said, too loud. The living room went silent around the confession. Protecting from what? Rodrigo wanted to ask. The answer was in the way Valeria's eyes burned. She wanted the baby. She wanted control. She wanted a narrative where she was the only hero. Get out of my house, Rodrigo said quietly. Valeria froze. You have 2 hours to pack and leave. Valeria ran upstairs. Consuelo turned to Rodrigo. Now go find my daughter. Where is she? He asked. I don't know. She left yesterday. She usually goes to one of 2 places when she's very low. The cemetery or the maternity hospital. That's where Matias was born. Rodrigo grabbed his keys and Galen left, heart hammering. He found Itzel on a bench at the hospital gardens. She was staring at new mothers carrying new babies to new lives. Her hair was a mess. Her clothes were dirty. 3 days had stolen too much from her, and she looked like a person who had almost surrendered and then paused. Itzel, he said softly. She turned like a startled animal. Senor, how did you find me? Your mother told me where to look. I have nothing to say to you, she said, standing. It's about Gael. She froze. What about him? Rodrigo walked closer, and she saw the baby in his arms. Gael looked thinner, tired, dull. Itzel's hand flew to her mouth. What happened? He's dying of missing you, Rodrigo said. I wish that were dramatic. It's not. He was hospitalized for dehydration. Can I hold him? She asked. She didn't say please. She didn't need to. Rodrigo gave her his son. Gael felt her arms and opened his eyes. He made a soft sound, as if he had been looking for this exact feeling and just found it. Hi, my love, she whispered as tears fell. Mommy's here. For the first time in days, Gael smiled. Rodrigo watched, and something old and new happened all at once. A revelation. The woman everyone warned him about was the one his son had chosen. The bond was obvious. It was pure and undeserved by any rumor. It was the only thing that mattered. Itzel, Rodrigo said. I need to apologize. She didn't look up. She couldn't stop watching the baby. For what? For believing Valeria, for not listening to you, for humiliating you, for choosing fear over what I knew I saw. You did right to protect your son, she said out of habit, trying to let him off the hook because that was who she was. No, he said. I did exactly the wrong thing. Your mother showed me everything. The allergy, Matias's report. Valeria confessed she planted the bottle. I threw her out. I want you to come back, not just to work. Come back to the family. He reached for her hand. Look at him. Look at how he is with you. This is not an accident. I'm not anyone's mother, she said softly. You are, he said. You are the mother Gael chose. He swallowed. His voice came out unsteady. And you're the woman I choose. Itzel stopped swaying. What are you saying? That I fell in love with the way you care for my son, he said. With your strength, with your goodness. Senor. Rodrigo, he said. Just Rodrigo. He touched her face. I love you. Gael loves you. Come home. What home? She whispered. I don't have one. You do, he said. With me. Itzel looked down at Gael, who curled his tiny fingers around hers and held on tight. And if I hurt him without meaning to? Like I hurt. You didn't hurt Matthias, Rodrigo said, and you won't hurt Gail. Stop blaming yourself. You are a wonderful mother. How can you know that? My son almost died without you, he said simply. He smiles only when he's in your arms. He kissed her forehead. You saved us both. I'm afraid, she said, crying harder now that a path forward had appeared, and fear had a reason to speak. I'm afraid too, he said. Afraid of being a father alone? Afraid I won't do it right. He wiped her tears. We'll do it together. Gail made a soft sound. It felt like agreement. Come back, Rodrigo whispered. Please. She looked into his eyes and saw only sincerity. All right, she whispered. I'll come. On the way home, Gail got worse very fast. The way babies do when they hold out and then crash. The lethargy turned to high fever. Rodrigo didn't risk it. He turned the car and ran to the hospital. He's very hot, Itzel said, pressing her cheek to Gail's. In the emergency room, Dr. Martinez examined the baby and exhaled. Severe dehydration, low blood sugar, unstable temperature. How many days without proper feeding? 5, Rodrigo admitted. The guilt was a weight he couldn't carry and couldn't put down. That's serious, and the doctor said. We have to admit him. They placed Gael in a crib with IV fluids and monitors. He looked small and pale and brave. Will he be okay? Itzel asked, gripping the railing. It depends, the doctor said. Babies can develop complications after malnutrition. Rodrigo felt the floor tilt again. Because of a lie, he said under his breath. Because of a lie, I almost lost my son. Doctor, Rodrigo asked aloud, can she stay? He calms down with her. She can, Dr. Martinez said. In fact, it's recommended. He needs emotional security to recover. Itzel did not leave that night. She sang. She held his tiny hand. She told him the kind of little stories mothers tell without knowing exactly what they are saying. Mommy is not going anywhere, she whispered to him. I promise. From the chair, Rodrigo watched and felt something in his chest unarmed. Itzel cared for Gael as if he were truly her own. Itzel, he said quietly, do you want to be Gail's mother? For real? She looked at him like he had said the one thing she didn't dare want. Are you serious? I have never been more serious, he said. She stroked Gail's cheek. Since I lost Matthias, there has been a hole in my chest, like I lost my purpose. When I take care of Gael, I feel like I can be a mother again. And us? Rodrigo asked. He had to ask with the courage other men save for war. What would we be? Family, she said. Or nothing. Family, however, he said. We will be a family. At 3 a.m, Gael woke and looked right at Itzel. He did not cry. He smiled. Hi, my prince, she whispered. You're better. Gael made a happy sound, a small silver bell ringing. During rounds, the doctor paused at their door. Impressive improvement, he said. What changed? He found his mother, Rodrigo said. I see, the doctor nodded. Babies are resilient when they feel safe. By morning, Gael was well enough to be discharged. Be careful, the doctor warned. No sudden separations. He needs emotional stability. There will be no more separations, Itzel said, taking Gael gently. The promise in her voice had steel under it. In the parking lot, Rodrigo stopped. He turned to Itzel. I have to say something before we go home. What? I love you, he said. This is not gratitude. This is love. Itzel smiled for the first time since he had truly met her. I love you too. They went home. Gael slept in the car for the first time in a week. In the front seat, Rodrigo and Itzel laced fingers, fragile and certain. By the time they pulled into the long drive, they felt less like two people and more like the beginning of one home. Rodrigo had changed the house while she was gone. I removed everything of Valeria's, he said. Her room is yours. Rodrigo, she said, I don't need the main bedroom. You do, he said. You're the lady of this house now. They went up to the nursery. Gael was awake, playing with his fingers. Hi, my love, Itzel said, leaning over. We're home. He smiled and reached for her. Rodrigo swallowed the lump in his throat. He really chose you, he murmured. And I chose him, she said. He wrapped his arms around her from behind and rested his chin on her shoulder while she held Gael. I know you've been through hell, he said, with Matthias, with me, with Valeria. That ends now. I promise I will never doubt you again. And I promise to never hide anything from you, she replied. They went downstairs. Carmen met them with a grin and tears. Thanks be to God, she said. I knew Itzel was innocent. Thank you for defending her, Rodrigo said. Carmen turned to Itzel. You are too thin. Sit. I'm cooking something nutritious. Over lunch, Rodrigo told Itzel what he should have told her days ago. Valeria admitted she planted the medication, he said. I threw her out. Where is she now? Itzel asked. I don't know, he said. And I don't care. She hurt an innocent woman. She almost killed my son. That afternoon, Gale slept his first real sleep in a week safe in Itzel's arms. Rodrigo watched them and felt peace land in his chest like a bird choosing a branch. Itzel, he said, Marry me. She looked up, startled. Are you serious? Very serious. I want you as my wife and Gale's mother. Officially. We barely know each other, she whispered. I know enough, he said. I know you are brave and good and a wonderful mother. I know I love you. And if it goes wrong, it won't, she said, smiling through a fresh wave of tears. I'll marry you. I want to be Gale's mother. On paper. In truth. In every way. He kissed her softly, careful not to wake the baby. We'll marry soon, he said. We'll have more children. As many as you want, she laughed quietly. Giles shifted in his sleep like he approved. He agrees, Rodrigo whispered. He's the family's Cupid. That night, the house went silent. No midnight cries, no arguments, no footsteps of a woman planning war. The mansion slept. Giles slept in the arms of the mother he had chosen. Itzel slept with a family again. Rodrigo slept with the knowledge that money can't buy safety, but love can build it. For a week, it felt like the end of a bad chapter. It wasn't. It was the pause before the next act. Itzel noticed a black car outside the gate, idling on and off for 3 days. A Corolla. There's always someone inside, she told Rodrigo. It's probably nothing, he said. He wanted to believe it. I don't know, she said. It gives me chills. Then the calls started. Silent numbers, blank envelopes in the mailbox, the constant feeling of being watched. I think someone is spying on us, Itzel whispered. Who? Rodrigo asked. Valeria? Do you think she gave up? Women like her don't, Itzel said. Not easily. She was right. On Thursday night, Carmen picked up the phone and came running. There's a woman on the line, she said. Says she's a journalist. Wants to do a story on you. A journalist? Rodrigo repeated. She says she heard about your love story, Carmen said. She wants to tell it in a magazine. Rodrigo and Itzel looked at each other. What magazine? He asked. Carmen returned to the phone, asked and came back. She didn't say. Only that it's a beautiful story of love and overcoming. Don't talk to her, Itzel said immediately. It's a trap. Why? Rodrigo asked, though he knew. Because no one knows our story except the people in this house, Itzel said. And only one person wants to spread it to hurt me. Rodrigo took the phone. Hello? Senor Gallardo, this is Veronica from Corazon magazine, the voice chirped. We'd love to do a feature on your love story. How did you hear about it? These things find their way to us, she said. You know how it is. I know, he said, and I'm not interested. But senor, it's such a beautiful story, she persisted. The millionaire who fell in love with the housekeeper? He hung up. He didn't need the rest. Someone fed their story to the press. Valeria wanted to expose them, to humiliate Itzel. To make me look like a gold digger, Itzel said, hugging herself. Imagine the headline. We know the truth, Rodrigo said. The world doesn't, she said. This could hurt your company, your reputation. I'm not letting Valeria ruin our happiness again, he said. They decided on protection through speed. We'll get married tomorrow, Rodrigo said. Civil, just us and Gale. Small, fast. And the celebration? She asked. Later, he said. The important thing is to be a legal family before Valeria builds another trap. Itzel agreed. Protection first. Everything else after. They went to the registry the next day with Gale and 2 witnesses. Simple. Quiet. When the judge said, you may kiss, Gale clapped, as if he understood what families do. Now we are a family, Rodrigo said, kissing Itzel. A real family, she whispered, happy in a way that made her look like herself again. The joy lasted until they reached the sidewalk. 3 reporters were waiting, cameras up, questions sharp. Senor Gallardo, is it true you married your housekeeper? Senor Itzel, how does it feel to marry a millionaire? Was it love or interest? Rodrigo shielded Itzel and Gale, hustled them to the car. Say nothing, he murmured. In the car, Itzel was shaking. She did it. She exposed us. This will pass, Rodrigo said. It will pass. And if the story runs, Itzel whispered, everyone will know I am the housekeeper who married her boss. Rodrigo pulled over and turned to her. Do you care what they think? She closed her eyes. I care what it might do to you. And to Gail. It won't do anything, he said. We love each other. Gail is safe. We are happy. The rest is noise. Are you sure? I am, he said. Do you know why? Because the truth beats lies eventually. They reached home. Carmen met them with worry in her hands. There are more reporters outside, and Valeria called. What did she want? Rodrigo asked. She said if you don't separate, she'll tell worse things to the press. What things? Itzel asked, tired. About my past? That I seduced Rodrigo? Yes, Carmen said. She's never going to stop, Itzel whispered. She will, Rodrigo said, jaw set, because now we fight back. He hired a private investigator. I want everything, he told the man. Where her money comes from, her past, her patterns, everything. Give me 3 days, the investigator said. Itzel fought in her own way. She went to people who had known Valeria as a mother, as a neighbor, as a name people whispered with pity. At the church, Doña Esperanza, who had watched Rodrigo's late wife grow up, shook her head. Valeria was always complicated, she said. Possessive. She didn't let Ana Sofia have friends, no boyfriends. When she married you, Valeria was furious. She lost control. After her daughter died, she became obsessed with the baby. She insisted on moving into your home. Rodrigo was kind. He didn't know how to say no. The next day, the investigator returned with a stack of facts. She's not a widow, he said. She's divorced. Her husband left because of her obsession with the children. He wasn't allowed to get near them. She claimed only she knew how to care for them. Later, she transferred that obsession to her grandson. Neighbors can testify she said she would save Gail from his unfit father. It's a pattern. Rodrigo showed the report to Itzel. She's done this before, he said. This will help us. If she tries anything in court, we're ready. Valeria didn't go to court. She went where she thought no one could bring evidence into the shadows. On Friday, Itzel got an anonymous call. You shouldn't have married him, a disguised voice said. If you don't leave by Sunday, everyone will know what kind of woman you really are. The line went dead. Rodrigo, Itzel said, shaking. Someone threatened me. How? She said if I don't leave you, she'll reveal things. I don't know what. I have nothing to hide. She can invent, Rodrigo said. Valeria. He hugged his wife. We won't let her intimidate us. If she wants a war, she'll get one. How? Itzel asked. How do we expose her before she exposes us? I have an idea, Rodrigo said. We'll use the press the way she tried to use the press. You want to give an interview? Yes, he said. We'll tell our story first. The truth. A mother who lost a child found love again and is being persecuted by an obsessive grandmother. Our story is love. Hers is obsession, Itzel thought. It might work. It will, he said, because the truth is stronger. They invited a local magazine. The journalist asked, how did you meet? Itzel worked in my home, Rodrigo said. She had a special gift with Gael. And you, Itzel? What was it like to fall in love with your boss? I didn't fall in love with the boss, Itzel said, steady and clear. I fell in love with the father, with the man I saw caring for his son alone, the man who needed help and asked for it. And the grandmother? The journalist asked. Bad, Rodrigo said. Very bad. She planted medication in our staff's drawer to frame Itzel. The journalist sat up. Can you say more? Rodrigo told everything. The bottle, the allergy, the confession, the hospital, the way Gal failed without Itzel, the way he recovered with her. Do you have proof? The journalist asked. We do, Itzel said. Laying documents on the table, the medical allergy, the official report on Matthias's death, the hospital note, the investigator's report. Reality lined up like soldiers. The piece ran on Sunday with a headline that sounded like a promise. True love defeats prejudice and persecution. It painted Rodrigo and Itzel as people under attack. It painted Valeria as a woman who had not healed and had hurt others as a result. When Valeria read it, she threw the magazine across the room. They painted me as crazy, she shouted at the only lawyer who would still answer her calls. They reported the facts, the lawyer said gently. What facts? Valeria demanded. Twisted, all of it. I'm not obsessive. I'm a concerned grandmother. The lawyer read the story again. It says you planted medication, he said, and you confessed. I confessed in a moment of desperation, she snapped. That doesn't make me a criminal. It does make your methods questionable, he said. Valeria realized Rodrigo's tactic had worked. She was the villain now. She had to do something. My reputation is ruined. What do you want me to do? The lawyer asked. Sue for defamation, she said. They told the truth, he said. Then invent something, she hissed. I'll pay. I can't invent lawsuits, he said softly. You're useless, she said, and fired him. Alone and with fewer allies, Valeria didn't calm down. She spiraled. She bought a burner phone and began calling the house with different numbers. Itzel is no good, she whispered in a disguised voice. She killed her own child. She wants money. Beware of that housekeeper. She's dangerous. 5 calls a day, 10, 15. Itzel blocked numbers. More calls came from others. Someone won't stop calling and slandering me, Itzel said, shaking. It's her. We'll prove it, Rodrigo said. He installed a caller ID system that logged everything. He set up call recording. They documented each call. Times. Dates. The pattern built itself. This is harassment, their lawyer said. We can sue for disturbance of the peace, but we need to prove it's her. On Friday, Valeria made the mistake they were waiting for. She called and forgot to disguise her voice. Rodrigo, she said, you're being fooled by that tramp. Itzel had the recorder on. Valeria, she asked. Silence. Then the line went dead. They had proof. Rodrigo didn't wait. He drove to the small rental where Valeria was living. He rang the bell hard. Valeria, open. I know you're in there. She opened in a bathrobe. Her hair was a mess. The dark circles under her eyes said days without sleep. What do you want? She asked. To make you stop, he said. The calls. The lies. What call? She asked. He held up his phone. We recorded your voice. She tried to shut the door. He caught it. Let me in, she hissed, before the neighbors see. He stepped into a small apartment full of a kind of sadness that speaks through objects. Photos of Gail were everywhere, on shelves, on the wall, on the table. A makeshift altar had pictures of Ana Sofia, her dead daughter, and of the baby. Velas burned. The room felt like a shrine to obsession. Valeria, he said, this is not normal. How did you get these photos? I took them when I lived with you. Some are recent, he said, after I threw you out. She said nothing. You've been spying, he said. That's why the car outside. You have no right. You were expelled. Gael is all I have left of my Ana Sofia, Valeria said, eyes bright with something dangerous. If I lose him, I have nothing. You need help, Rodrigo said, softer now that he could see the wound under the weapon. This is not love. This is obsession. Obsession, she repeated. I'm his grandmother. And I'm his father, he said. I decide what is best. You? She spit. You married a murderer. Enough, he said. The word landed with weight. Itzel killed her own baby, Valeria said, voice rising. She will kill mine. Rodrigo looked at her and realized the thing you hate realizing. She had lost her reason. Get help, he said. Please, before this destroys you. I don't need help, she said. I need my grandson. You will never get near him again, he said. I will, she said. I'll prove that woman is unfit. How? He asked, dread creeping. By inventing more lies? Not inventing, she said, smiling in a way that made him cold. Provoking. What do you mean? He asked. Unstable women do unstable things when you press them, she said. I will press. Valeria, he said. If you hurt her, I won't hurt her, she said. I'll just show what she is. Rodrigo left more worried than when he arrived. He called a private security company before he reached home. I need protection for my family, he told the director. My mother-in-law made threats. Put a man on the house, today. That night, he told Itzel everything. She wants to test your limits, he said. What if she invents that I hurt Gail? Itzel asked, panicked back. She won't be able to, Rodrigo said. We have security now, and if she spreads more lies, we prove them false like we already did. I just want peace, Itzel said, holding Gail like a life preserver. You'll have it, he said. She won't separate us again. But neither of them slept well. They both felt the story winding itself towards something worse. The attack came on Tuesday morning, polite and official on the surface. A woman at the door, clipboard in hand, badge around her neck. Good morning, she said. I'm Dr. Regina from Child Services. We're here for a routine evaluation. Evaluation? Itzel asked. No one told us. Standard procedure after anonymous complaints, the woman said. May I come in? Itzel let her in, but her back stayed tense. Something was off. Where is the child? The woman asked. Sleeping in his room, Itzel said. May I see him? They went upstairs. Gail slept like a healthy baby, cheeks full, small mouth open. He looks well cared, the woman said, writing in a way that looked like she was making facts fit feelings. Are you the biological mother? I'm his mother by heart, Itzel said, his stepmother. I see. And your preparation to care for children? The woman asked. Courses, certifications? I raised my siblings, Itzel said. I don't have formal certificates. So, the woman wrote, do you work? I used to keep the house, Itzel said. Now I am a homemaker. So, you have no personal income, the woman said. I don't need one. My husband provides. The woman's pen moved. And about your psychiatric hospitalization? Itzel's head snapped up. What hospitalization? I have never been hospitalized. We have information that you were, the woman said. That information is false, Itzel said. I have the real documents. She went to retrieve Dr. Martinez's letters and her medical records. When she returned, the woman was rifling through Gail's drawers. What are you doing? Itzel demanded. Routine check, the woman said. Looking for inappropriate medication. There is none. Then what is this? The woman lifted a small bottle Itzel had never seen. Infant sedative. The room spun. Itzel felt the old panic swallow her. Someone put that there, she said. I don't use sedatives. I'm allergic. You will have to come with us to the public prosecutor, the woman said. What? Itzel said. Why? Inadequate medication of a minor is a crime. Rodrigo walked in and heard the last line. What is going on? Your wife is being accused, the woman said. Rodrigo looked at the bottle like it was a snake. Again, he said. What do you mean again? The woman asked. Someone planted a bottle here before, he said, to frame my wife. Those are serious accusations, the woman said. They are true, Rodrigo said. He pulled out his phone. I'm calling child services, the real ones. The woman paled. No need, she said. There is a need, he said, already dialing. This is child services, the receptionist said. How can we help? This is Rodrigo Gallardo, he said. There is a person in my house impersonating one of you. The fake social worker ran. Rodrigo chased. She jumped into a car, idling at the corner, and they took off. He got the plate. He called the police. A woman just impersonated a government employee and tried to frame my wife, he said. I want to report it. 2 hours later, the police called back. The car is registered to a private investigative firm hired by a Miss Valeria Sandoval, the agent said. We have enough to charge her for impersonation, home invasion, and attempted false incrimination. Will she be arrested? Rodrigo asked. She will be processed, the agent said. This time, she won't easily escape. Rodrigo went back home lighter. Itzel was in the garden with Gael, still shaken. It's over, he said. She went too far. This is a federal crime. Are you sure? Itzel asked. I am, he said. This time it's over. They hugged in the garden with Gael between them. He smiled as if he could feel the door finally closing behind the danger. 2 days after the fake social worker fiasco, Valeria hit bottom. No money, no real home, no lawyer who would take the call. She still had one idea. I want a different lawsuit, she told the last attorney who would meet her. I want to challenge Rodrigo's mental capacity. How? He asked. He married an unstable woman in weeks, she said. That is not responsible behavior for a father. The lawyer rubbed his temples. So you want full custody, she said. If he can't choose a proper wife, he can't raise a child. It's risky, the lawyer said. It's my last chance, Valeria said. Either I get my grandson back or I lose him forever. On Friday, Rodrigo received a court summons and felt a heat he had not felt since the day his wife died. She's challenging my ability as a father, he told Itzel. Says our quick marriage shows instability. Can she win? Itzel asked, voice small. I don't know, he said. We will have to prove we are good parents. How? She asked. With witnesses. With the pediatrician. With Carmen, he said. With facts. They barely slept. The possibility of losing Gail made every shadow look like a hand. What if the judge thinks we married too fast? Itzel whispered. He won't, Rodrigo said, holding her. We love each other. On paper it looks strange, she said. The boss marrying the housekeeper. Itzel, he said steady. Stop blaming yourself for the way it looks. We did nothing wrong. On Saturday, Dr. Martinez came to the house. I heard about the case, he said. I came to help. How? Rodrigo asked. I can testify that Gael is healthy, well cared for, happy. I have known Valeria for years. She has always been complicated, he said gently. Possessive, over-involved. I can write a report. Do we have a real chance? Rodrigo asked. You do, the doctor said. But prepare. Valeria will attack everything. It sells stability, the quick marriage, the class difference. The judge will care about the child's welfare above all. Show that Gail thrives with you. That speaks louder than arguments. They prepared all day. Sunday night, Valeria played her last card. She arrived at the mansion with 2 officers. "We have an emergency order," one said. "Temporary custody to Miss Sandoval until the hearing." "This is absurd," Rodrigo said. "It's legal," the officer said. "Suspicion of an inadequate environment." Itzel came to the door holding Gaul. "Are you taking him?" Rodrigo asked, voice breaking. "Where?" "To a safe environment," Valeria said. "Away from negative influences." "What negative influences?" Itzel asked through her teeth. "You," Valeria said. "A woman who killed her own child and now threatens my grandson." "I didn't kill anyone," Itzel said. "You know that." "I have new proof," Valeria said, pulling out a folder. "You were fired from other houses for strange behavior with children." "That's a lie," Itzel said. "Is it? Then explain why you were fired from the Almeida house in January." Itzel paled. It was true she had been let go. "I was fired," she said, "because I gave fever medicine without permission when the parents were unreachable. The child had a high fever. I made a mistake. I was wrong to administer without authorization." She looked at Rodrigo. "It wasn't sedative. It was an antipyretic." "See?" Valeria said. "Pattern. She meddles in other people's parenting." The officer stepped forward. "We need to take the child now." "No," Itzel cried, clutching Gal. "You will not take my son." "Itzel," Rodrigo said, trying to steady her. "Please." "This woman already framed me once," Itzel said. "Now she wants to steal our baby." "Steal?" Valeria said with practiced outrage. "I am the grandmother. I have more right than a stranger." "Stranger," Itzel said, something snapping. "I am his mother. I feed him. I love him." "You kill babies," Valeria shouted. "I killed no one," Itzel cried. Gal started to cry with the shouting. Itzel trembled and held him tighter. "Look," Valeria told the officers. Hysterical. "She's hurting the child." "I'm not hurting him," Itzel said. "You are," Valeria insisted. "You're squeezing him." Rodrigo saw that Itzel, in her desperation, was holding Gail too tightly. "Love, loosen a little," he said softly. "No," she said, wild with fear. "They won't take him." "Ma'am," the officer said kindly, "if you don't hand him over, we will have to use force." "Use it," Itzel said. "I won't let go." That was the moment Valeria had planned for. Itzel, desperate, looked unstable in front of the law. "You see?" she said. "Obsessive. Exactly as I said." Rodrigo recognized the trap too late. "Itzel," he said, "please. It's just until tomorrow. Please. If you resist, it looks worse." Itzel looked into her husband's eyes. He was right. If she fought, she would become the person Valeria told the world she was. She kissed Gal's forehead with a sob that sounded like something breaking. "Mommy will come back tomorrow," she whispered. "I promise." She surrendered the baby. The officer passed him to Valeria. "There we go." "Sweetheart," Valeria cooed. "Grandma will take good care of you." Gail cried harder at the sound of the woman who had become associated with alarms. "He doesn't want her," Itzel said, desperate. "He will adjust," Valeria said, walking out with the baby. Rodrigo held Itzel as she collapsed. "She took our son," she sobbed. "Only until tomorrow," Rodrigo said, though part of him didn't believe. "We win tomorrow." "And if we don't?" she asked. He had no answer. The courthouse was full the next morning. Journalists, curious people, neighbors who had taken sides. The case had become national gossip with real people in it. Rodrigo and Itzel entered hand in hand. Dr. Martinez followed with a face that said he was ready to be both doctor and shield. Valeria sat on the other side with Gal and a new lawyer. "Where did she get money?" Itzel whispered. "She probably sold something," Rodrigo said. The judge entered. "Hearing on custody of the minor, Gael Gallardo," he said. "Miss Sandoval, present your arguments." Valeria stood with the baby still in her arms, his weight like a trophy. "Your Honor, I am the child's grandmother and the only living blood relative of his mother," she began. "My son-in-law married an unstable woman in a matter of weeks. She has a history of mental problems and inappropriate behavior with children. Her lawyer submitted documents, some real, some the latest in a chain of forgeries." Rodrigo stood. "Objection," he said. "Those documents have been challenged and proven false." "Even if some documents are questionable," Valeria's lawyer said smoothly, "the respondent's behavior yesterday is evidence. Aggression, emotional instability, resistance to authority." She was defending her child, Rodrigo said. She was demonstrating pathological obsession, Valeria snapped. Silence, the judge said. He turned to Itzel. Can you respond? Itzel stood, knees weak. Your Honor, I love this baby as if he were my own. I would never harm him. But you admit you behaved aggressively yesterday, the judge said. Yes, she whispered. Because I was desperate. Any mother would be. You are not the biological mother, the judge said. I am not, Itzel said, but I am a mother by heart. That has no legal standing, the judge said, not unkindly. It still hurt. Dr. Martinez, the judge said, you treat the child. I do, the doctor said. Since birth. Your opinion of the environment in the father's home? Exemplary, the doctor said. Gail is healthy, well-fed, developing perfectly. And Ms. Sandoval, the judge asked. I have witnessed obsessive behavior, the doctor said. Excessive possessiveness, interference in medical care, attempts to control the child's routine. That's a lie, Valeria said. It is the truth, the doctor said. I now observe the baby's behavior with her versus with the father and stepmother. He displays a clear preference for the parental figures. As if on cue, Gael whimpered in Valeria's arms. When he glanced at Rodrigo and Itzel, he reached his arms out instinctively. Ms. Lopez, the judge said, you have worked in their home for 15 years. Carmen entered, mouth dry, spine straight. I have, she said. Describe the family. I have never seen a house with more love, Carmen said. Itzel cares for Gail like her own. The baby is only well when she is near. And Miss Sandoval, the judge asked. Always problematic, Carmen said. When her daughter lived, she controlled everything. After she died, she became worse, obsessive with the baby. She wouldn't let anyone care for him properly. The judge listened. He watched Gail. He walked down from the bench. May I hold the child, Ma? He asked. Valeria approached, stiff. The judge opened his arms. Gail grabbed Valeria's dress and refused to go. Interesting, the judge said. Most babies go to strangers without much fuss. He's frightened, Valeria said. Or well bonded, the judge said. He looked at Rodrigo. Come closer. Rodrigo stepped up. Gail reached for him and calmed the moment he was in his father's arms. The judge turned to Itzel. Come, he said. Itzel came forward slowly. Gael looked at her and smiled. He babbled something that sounded like mama, a sound that had never meant so much. The contrast was obvious. Valeria made one last attempt. They trained him to prefer them, she said. The judge returned to the bench. The child demonstrates a clear attachment to the father and stepmother, he said. Disrupting that bond would harm his development. Ms. Sandoval, your request is denied. Custody remains with the father. Valeria went pale. This can't be, she said. It is, the judge said. Additionally, you are ordered to undergo a psychological evaluation before any future petitions. Rodrigo and Itzel had finally definitively won. On the steps outside, Valeria broke. I lost everything, she cried. They stole my grandson. Accept the decision, Rodrigo said quietly. It is best for everyone. Best for you, she spit. I'm left with nothing. You will have a chance to heal, Rodrigo said, to become healthy. I don't want to heal, Valeria said. I want my grandson. Itzel stepped closer, gentle and firm at the same time. Look at him, she said. He is happy with us. Forcing things will not make him happy with you. Why is he afraid of me? Valeria asked. For the first time, her voice broke like a person, not a weapon. Because you frightened him, Itzel said. Children feel our desperation. They feel when our love is about possession, not care. I love him, Valeria said. We know, Itzel said, but love is not ownership. Rodrigo took a breath. Do you want one last chance to say goodbye properly? He asked. What? Valeria said, surprised. Come for coffee, he said. Spend an hour with him. No pressure, no desperation. Just be his grandmother. You would do that? She asked. Yes, Itzel said, but only if you promise to seek help after and not to harass us again. Valeria looked at both of them. For a moment, the woman who had been the villain looked like what she had been long before she became cruel. A mother in pain. All right, she said. I accept. At the house, something unexpected happened. Stripped of the urgency to win, Valeria relaxed for the first time in months. She sat on the floor and rolled a toy toward Gael. Hi, baby, she said softly. Abuela brought you this. Gael studied her. She didn't smell like anger. She didn't move like a storm. He took the toy and giggled. He laughed with you, Itzel said, moved in spite of everything. I haven't heard him laugh with me in months, Valeria said, because I was desperate. For an hour, she was the grandmother she had once been in her best imagining. She sang. She made faces. She laughed at silly baby jokes. She forgot about courtrooms and plans and curses. She remembered how to be human. "This is better," Rodrigo said quietly. "This is how I remember loving being a grandmother," Valeria said. When it was time to leave, Gail didn't cry. He waved. "Goodbye, sweetheart," Valeria said. "Grandma will come back when she's better." At the door, she turned. "Thank you," she said, "for letting me say goodbye right. If you truly get help," Itzel said, "you can be part of his life. For real. He needs a healthy grandmother." "I will get treatment," Valeria said. "I promise." "We hope you do," Rodrigo said, and he meant it. A taxi took her away. Rodrigo, Itzel, and Gael stood in the doorway and watched her go. "Do you think she'll keep her word?" Rodrigo asked. "I think so," Itzel said. "She looked different today." "How?" "More human," Itzel said. "Less desperate." "I hope you're right," he said. "I will be," she said. "People can change when they find a reason." "What was her reason?" he asked. Itzel looked at Gail playing with the toy his grandmother gave him. "To learn she can be a grandmother without stealing. Without forcing, just loving." 2 months later, a letter arrived. Valeria had checked herself into a psychiatric rehabilitation center. She sent updates on her treatment. For the first time, the war felt truly over. Not because someone had lost, because everyone might win. 3 months after the hearing, Rodrigo and Itzel had the wedding of their dreams in the mansion's garden. Itzel wore a simple white dress that made her look like light. Rodrigo wore a navy suit in a face that could not stop smiling. Gael, at 6 months, was carried by Carmen like the proudest page in history. "Rodrigo," the priest said, "do you accept Itzel as your wife, to love, to respect, to protect, in joy and sorrow?" "I do," Rodrigo said, eyes never leaving hers. "Itzel, do you accept Rodrigo as your husband, to love, to respect, to protect, in joy and sorrow?" "I do," she said, tears bright. "And do you accept Gael as your son, to raise him with love and care?" "We do," they said together. "Then I declare you husband and wife, and a family. You may kiss." Rodrigo kissed Itzel. Their friends applauded. Gail clapped too, because babies sometimes understand more than we give them credit for. During the reception, Carmen gave a toast. "I met Itzel when she arrived here," she said. "A young woman broken by grief. I watched her become a wonderful mother and a devoted wife." Consuelo wiped tears. "I watched my daughter be reborn," she said. "I watched her find a family that loves her truly." Dr. Martinez raised his glass. "As a doctor, I rarely say this at weddings," he said, "but Gail is one of the happiest, healthiest babies I've seen. You are exemplary parents." Late in the evening, when the lights had gone soft and only close friends remained, a bouquet arrived. "Who sent this?" Itzel asked. Rodrigo read the card. "Congratulations on your wedding. Gail is lucky to have such a special parents. With love, Valeria." "She remembered," Itzel said, moved, "and she didn't try to ruin our day." "I think she is truly changing," Rodrigo said. That night, after the last hug and the last dance, the new family sat in the garden where so many scenes had unfolded. The air was gentle. The stars were the kind that make you believe in second chances. Rodrigo held Gael, who tried to chew on their rings. Itzel rested her head on Rodrigo's shoulder and breathed like a person who had finally returned home to her own life. "What are you thinking?" Rodrigo asked. "How strange life is," Itzel said. 6 months ago, I was a desperate housekeeper who had lost everything. Now I am a wife, a mother. I have a family that loves me. And I," Rodrigo said, "was a lost father who didn't know how to care for his own son. Now I have both of you, and I learned that the greatest wealth isn't money." "What is it?" she asked. "Love," he said. "Family. Having someone who looks at you on your weakest day and stays." Gail babbled, a string of sounds that felt like a blessing. "And him?" Itzel asked, smoothing their son's hair. "What is he thinking?" "That he has the best family in the world," Rodrigo said. "He does," Itzel said. They sat there, 3 people under a sky that had seen their tears and now held their joy, watching the stars. Outside, the city kept moving. Inside the Gallardo garden, there was only peace. Only the knowledge that some stories really do end well because people choose different endings. The housekeeper who cried alone found her home. The millionaire who thought money could solve everything learned that family is the only treasure that grows when you give it away. And the baby who almost lost everything ended up with both of them. Safe, wanted, loved without conditions. If someone tried to steal your life with a well-timed lie and a shiny piece of paper, who would you be in that story? The person who opens the door to fear? The one who asks the person in front of you for their truth? The one who stands in court with facts in a steady voice? Or the one who looks at a crying child, opens your arms and says, "I'm here. I'm not leaving"? Whatever your answer is, remember what the baby remembered long before the adults. Love isn't the loudest thing in the room. It's just the thing that lasts. And sometimes when you think you have lost everything, love is the one knocking at your door, asking you to choose it.